What's up, Taiwan? I'm Rik Glauert with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Dozens of Chinese military vessels and planes have come close to Taiwan in the last 24 hours as China wraps up 2 days of war games. The Defense Ministry says it detected 62 Chinese aircraft and 27 warships in areas around Taiwan. 47 of those aircraft crossed the median line of the Taiwan Strait separating Taiwan and China. China launched its joint sword exercises 3 days after President Legislators' inauguration. Some analysts say the drills are a way to isolate Taiwan from international support.
In a way, it's Beijing using pressure to sort of nip it in the bud, so to speak, to try to scare other countries away from engaging with Taiwan. When that happens, that furthers isolation of Taiwan, which allows Beijing to negotiate with Taiwan going forward from a position of strength.
Taiwan's universities could soon start admitting students from China again. In his inaugural address, President Legislators said that he would resume education ties with China. The move would mark an end to a 5-year-long ban on admitting students from China. The plan aims to start allowing Chinese students to enroll from next July. Protests against proposed changes to the law are rocking Taiwan, both inside the legislature and in the streets. Harel Hughes brings us the latest.
Another day of chaos in Taiwan's legislature. On Friday, lawmakers resumed readings of deeply controversial bills that would drastically expand legislative powers. Divisive items that would give lawmakers the power to compel testimony and fine or jail those who don't answer questions completely. The bills are the work of two opposition parties, the Kuomintang, or KMT, and Taiwan People's Party, the TPP, who together form a majority. The two parties are trying to push the bills through over stiff opposition from the Democratic Progressive Party. And at times, the proceedings have taken a violent turn.
从后面过来打我，我再说我就转过来这样子，就我也没有看到后面嘛，对不对？我就要转过来这样子。我是自我防卫，他先出手，我自我防卫。今嘛流行，今嘛是咧流行哦，怕人话救人。
Civic groups say the way the legislators handled the bills goes against fair and normal procedures.
The lack of procedural justice in the enactment of these bills is even more worrying, as there has been no substantive room for serious review or civic participation or input. Abiding by normal legislative procedures would have actually improved the quality of legislative reform and the prospects of implementation.
And thousands of people in Taiwan also have concerns. Organizers of a Friday protest against the bills outside the legislature say 100,000 people turned out, and 5 other protests took place in other parts of the country.
我们要求公平正义的讨论，我们拒绝黑箱的一个国会作业。
我现在最担心就是他的所有法案目前对人民，包括不能请律师，包括不能就是拒绝所有立法委员，这是一个立法委员扩权的法案，我觉得这是非常不合理的。
只要蓝白立委联合的话，那所有什么法案都可以过，只要迎合中国的话，他什么法案都有可能通过，就算民进党再怎么努力。
Lawmakers are readying for the 3rd reading, set for next week. Protesters say they'll be there too, making their voices heard from outside the chamber. Eason Chen and Harel Hughes for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's Constitutional Court has deemed a clause protecting civil servants from insults partially unconstitutional. The ruling means a retrial for a controversial case from 2018. Leslie Liao has more.
Yang Huiru is getting a second day in court. In 2018, she took to the internet to criticize Su Qi-chen, then Taiwan's representative in Osaka, Japan. The costliest typhoon in Japan's history had just struck, leaving Taiwanese tourists stranded, an event that put so much pressure on Su he committed suicide. Yang's remarks about the diplomat's handling of the situation and the comments she paid others to leave for her were found to be insulting a civil servant's performance and therefore against the law. But Taiwan's Constitutional Court now says the ban on insulting civil servants isn't entirely constitutional, and that criticism should be protected under free speech.
人民对于政府机关及其职务，包括法令政策制定以及各项公务执行的异议、质疑、批评等意见以及评价，本来就具有监督施政、促进民主的重要功能，受到宪法言论自由的保障。
But the court also ruled that free speech should be limited when insult is aimed at a civil servant's performance.
基于妨碍公务之主观目的，且足以影响公务员执行公务之情形，于此范围内，实与宪法第11条保障言论自由之意旨无违。
There will now be a retrial.
我对宪法法庭的结果都尊重，但是我自己期待自己之后能够变成一个更好的人。
Taiwan's constitution is the highest law in the land, but it is still subject to correction and reinterpretation. This latest ruling will not only see Yang's case retried, but also the law amended to reflect the court's decision. Howard Zhang and Leslie Liao for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan is sending its health minister to the World Health Assembly in Geneva next week. That's despite Taiwan not being invited.
可是我想大家知道，这个中共的打压是使得台湾没有办法参加的唯一原因。我们也利用这个机会，好好的让全世界的人知道，为台湾来发声。
China claims Taiwan as part of its territory and has blocked its attempts to join United Nations-related events. Taiwan will instead send a delegation to lobby for participation in the WHA. The United States, the UK, Canada and Japan are among countries speaking out against Taiwan's exclusion. Police are investigating a deadly knife attack in southern Taiwan. They suspect a man surnamed Gore attacked another man with a fruit knife, leaving him seriously injured. Gore then turned the blade on himself, dying by suicide. An official at the temple where the attack took place tried to intervene and was also injured. An exhibit of works by the late Taiwanese sculptor Ying-feng is set to open in Taipei. Also known as Yu Yang, he was internationally known for modernist abstract sculptures. The exhibit is a joint project by the National Museum of History and the Yu Yang Art Education Foundation to celebrate the artist 98 years after his birth. The exhibition will feature more than 200 of Yang's works, curated by a Taiwanese art historian.
当我老了，我越来越喜欢当策展人了。我说，所有的东西都要留下来，重不重要，留给后代的人来决定。
Scientists in Taiwan say they have developed a way to produce electricity from soil. Maddie Anstruther has the story.
Phones, TV remotes and smartwatches, just some of the many items that could soon be powered by soil. That's because scientists at Taiwan's top university have managed to harness electric power from microorganisms found naturally in back gardens across the globe, turning soil into the batteries of tomorrow.
在消耗它本身要生存消耗碳的时候，那把碳的化学能给释放出来。好，在释放的过程当中呢，它会释放出电子。那我们如果有效的接受这个电子的话，就会形成电池。
The system they have designed captures freed electrons, which carry a negative charge, to produce an electrical current. It is a naturally occurring reaction, meaning no additional chemicals are needed. The team hopes this means soil could make a more sustainable alternative to conventional batteries.
土壤量体很大，所以在未来的话，它其实有可以做储能的这样的一个潜力。
On average, just 1 teaspoon of soil contains over 10,000 species of microorganism. But before anyone tries to charge their phone in a nearby plant pot, not all soils are made equal.
这种泥土的属性很多种哈，那有些是有比较贫瘠的泥土，有些是比较富有有机物营养的泥土，产电的这个效率呢，可能都会有所不同。
While traditional batteries can be recycled, billions of them end up in landfill each year, 3 billion in the US alone, creating many thousands of tons of hazardous waste. What's more, they can be extremely energy intensive to make in the first place. This has generated a real interest in alternatives, such as soil, as possible solutions, though developing a technology to harness this natural chemical energy source at scale may be some way off. Howard Chang and Maddie Anstruther for TaiwanPlus.
Hundreds are feared dead after a landslide hit villages in northern Papua New Guinea on Friday. More than 100 homes are buried under debris and rocks. The landslide has wiped out roads, livestock, food, gardens, and clean water sources. Rescue teams are helping with the relief efforts. The UN estimates as many as 3,000 people could be affected. Mongolia's booming livestock industry has come up against a big problem: climate change. They have found a solution, but native wildlife, including the enigmatic snow leopard, are bearing the brunt. Bryn Thomas explains.
For centuries, wild and domesticated animals have managed to coexist in Mongolia's sprawling hinterlands. The elusive snow leopards, the ghosts of the mountains, stick to the snowy peaks. And nomadic herders graze their livestock in the country's plains. But that's changing as herders push their flocks deeper into the leopard's habitat. In their search for grazing land, herders across Mongolia are bumping up against the country's wildlife, resulting in the spread of disease and livestock killed by prowling leopards. Unable to get government compensation, herders have been known to avenge their losses by killing leopards. It's a problem expressive of a wider change happening across Mongolia. Since 1990, livestock numbers have increased by 200%, driven by a rise in demand for cashmere abroad, particularly in neighboring China. And although the industry provides a path out of poverty for Mongolia's nomadic herders, it requires them to keep their animals fed. But climate change has caused harsh winters that freeze the ground, making it impossible for animals to graze. The result? Bad news for local wildlife.
Маллын чинь нэмэгдсэн мал чинь яг уу шинэ бэлчээрт очно гэсэн. Шинэ бэлчээр чинь юу гэдэг вэ гэхээр нөгөө зэрлэг амьтад нь тэр шинэ бэлчээрийг чинь одоо хуучин ашиглаад байж исэн байдаг. Өөрөөр хэлбэл одоо аргал янгрын нутагт одоо ирвсийн хүнстэжэл гол хоол хүнсэнд болдог аргал янгрын нутагт манай малчтын маань өссөн нэмэгдсэн мал маань очно гэсэн.
Mongolia's 1,000-odd remaining snow leopards aren't the only animals at risk. Tens of millions of Mongolian gazelle once migrated across the country every year. Habitat loss has seen that number fall to under 3 million. And in 2017, goat plague nearly wiped out the country's population of saiga antelope.
шалтгаан нөлөөлж байгаа нэг шалтгаан бол энэ малын өвчлөл мал амьтнаас одоо малаас зэрлэг хадж байгаа нэг өвчнүүд байж байгаа.
The encroachment of domesticated animals into wild habitats is a very real problem, but also one that has very real solutions. Wildlife experts in Mongolia say the country needs to make its livestock sector more sustainable, give herders new ways to increase their income, and create clear wildlife reserves. In this way, Mongolia can ensure its snow leopards don't literally become ghosts of the mountains. Andy Xue and Bryn Thomas for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally today, let's check out this lantern festival being held in Ying-feng on Taiwan's northern coast. I've been Rik Glauert, you take care and we will see you next time.